Right, at the time of making this video, if I put in equals rank, you can see there's a little warning sign next to the rank function because it looks like they want to discontinue it. I have known that some of the spreadsheets I've made have had issues with the rank formula. So I actually use an alternative formula instead of the rank formula. So what I'll do now is I would normally start with equals if that one equals blank, then blank. Because what I want to do is I want to rank these numbers in order highest to lowest. So if I do equal, if that one equals blank, then blank, because then it just doesn't include that one in the rank. Next, I will then to say count if, and I'll put the range in that I want to rank it by, lock that in place, and count. Now, if I put that, it's going to count how many of those of the 83s there are. That's not what I want. I wanted to count how many of those, how many of these values are higher than 83. So if I put in the speech brackets greater than speech brackets, and then I put in the and symbol. The reason why I put in the and symbol is because I want to say I want to have it in as greater than, but I want to have it in as greater than 83. Now, if I don't put those speech bubbles and just put greater than 83, that causes issues with the formula. So that is how you type it in. So effectively, I've said, look at that range and find anything that's greater than 83. Count how many are greater than that cell reference. So because I haven't locked those cell references, as I copy that down, that will then take, the formula will adjust for each row. But now what will happen in theory is when I get to the 100 and I say how many is greater than the 100, it's going to say 0, and I don't want to start with 0, I want to start with 1. So I just simply put a +1 at the end and then close the bracket. Copy. And there we go. So this one's ranked 10th, which is 26, which is the lowest. That one's ranked 1, which is 100, and it's all good. That's all working. Or is it? The next problem that you come up with is what happens if you have two of the same number? So what happens if this is 59 as well? Now, all of a sudden, what we've got is we've got a situation where we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, and then 8. So there is no 7th, there's 2 6s. Now, if that's what you want, then that's fine, you've got it. If you want the second one to be 7, then all you need to do is you need to go make an adjustment to your formula. So if we take out that last bracket and we say plus count if, now what we do is we start at the top, we lock that one, we create a range. So the first section of the range, we lock that in place, but the second one we don't, and we say that one equals E7. So effectively what I've said is start at E7, look down to E7 and count how many times we've got E7. And the next one will say start at E7 to E8, how many times do we have E8, E7 to E9, how many times do we have E9? So it'll always start at the top, but as you go down, the range will increase and it'll check how many times you've got that particular reference. But now what we need to do is we need to add a -1 to accommodate for the one line that we actually are counting. So we want to count how many more lines there are. And then we close off the bracket. And now what happens is if we paste that down, now what it does is it'll say 10th, but here we go 6, and then that one's a 7th because it adds 1 on, and then it goes to 8, 9, and 10. So we've now overcome that problem. There is one other potential issue that we could come into being if, for example, and I'm going to add another column in here, and I'm going to put in some letters. Now, a blank space to sort out numbers is fine. So if there was a blank space, let's just copy these values in here for now. And if I said that one equals that, in fact, let me do one more, equals if that one equals blank, then blank, otherwise that. And I copy that formula down here. So let's just say you've got yourself a situation where you're using formulated cells to rank formulated cells, and now all of a sudden that one there is blank. So now you can see it works 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There is no 10th. The problem comes in is if you replace these with letters, if you replace those with letters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you change this to greater than to less than, so now we're ranking it in the opposite order. So we want number A to be number 1. You see, there is no number 1. And the reason why there is no number 1 is because it sees the blank space as less than A. It sees the blank space as greater than the numbers. So you're not necessarily going to have an issue with the numbers, but the number values, but you are going to have an issue with letters. And so you've got to keep in mind that sometimes the blank space can throw a spanner in the works. So all what I would do then, if you've done a test and you've got the situation where it's not actually counting the first, it's counting the blank one, so it's only starting at 2 because of the blank, then what I normally do is at the top of this column, I will do a simple count if, let me just do that in capitals, count if that one blank, so it's got 1. And then what I would do at the end of this one here is just minus that cell reference. So we're taking out the blank ones, and then we've got ourselves the correct rankings. So what I'm suggesting you to do, obviously break this down, use the first part of the formula up to there. If you're wanting to count, so in other words, if you've got a rank of 1, 2, 3, 3, 3, if you've got 3 all the same value, then use that. If you want to be able to actually break it down to go 1, 2, 3, 4, even if they've got the same values, then you add that extra bit in up to the 1. And then last but not least, just have a look and see what you've got ranking wise. If these spaces are throwing a spanner in the works, then just simply put something at the top to count the spaces and subtract them off. But play around with that formula. If you understand the principle behind what I've done, you'll be able to play around with that to make sure that it's obviously working for your ranking situation. If you've got an issue where you've got alphanumeric stuff, where you've got some numbers and then you've got letters as well, it becomes a little bit more tricky. Then you've actually got to put a more complicated formula in, but I won't go into that now. This one should do for most cases, whether you're using words or whether you're using numbers. Just keep in mind what you're doing. And also I would suggest testing it out first and having a look to see what it's actually producing, and then make the necessary adjustments that I've shown you to compensate for whatever data you've got. But hopefully they'll come up with another rank function which will be easier to use. But if not, that's the best alternative I can find at the moment. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.